Hi, my name is Gilma Dorville.
I'm Ebony Weaver.
I'm Ashley Moultrie.
I'm Delanique Robinson.
I'm Janelle M. Forbes, and you're watching The Ugly Truth Show on
Dominion TV.
Welcome back to The Ugly Truth. My name is Ebony Weaver, and I'm joined with my co-host here and our guest, Marcus Robinson. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know what you do?
Okay, my name is Marcus Robinson, and I'm a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. And what I do is pretty much assess patients who may have some sort of mental illness or some sort of emotional instability. And I provide some sort of diagnosis, some sort of treatment. Sometimes it's therapy, sometimes it's medications, but by the end of the appointment, we'll come up with some sort of plan that's best suited to meet that patient's need to bring about ultimately a positive change in their life.
So how did you get into this? How it all started?
Okay, well, I have been interested in mental health since I was in high school. I went off to college. I initially thought I was going to be a psychiatrist, but chemistry kind of,
That led me the same thing.
I thought I wanted to be a nurse. That's what got me. That chemistry was over with.
Yeah.
So somehow I got turned around and I graduated with a degree in psychology, and I worked in case management, initially as a forensic caseworker, and I always, again, was just fascinated with psychiatry. So after working as a case manager for a while, I was like, I really want to go back and pursue my passion, pursue my goal. Went back to school, did an accelerated nursing program, which was 16 months, and then I said I wanted to keep going until I got to my goal. So I immediately applied to a psychiatric nurse practitioner program. And, that was another 2 years. So in 3 years and 11 months, I went ahead and made it through, and I've been practicing ever since. It's been 6 years so far.
So with what you do, what is a struggle for you? A daily struggle?
A daily struggle. I will say, just hearing how difficult some individuals' lives really are. Like, it really makes you appreciate, some of the things that we may stress about, some of the things we may complain about. It's nothing in comparison to what some people are really going through. They're going through different traumas, they're going through abuse, and they truly don't know how to make it to the next day.
Yeah.
And it just makes, you appreciate what you do have and what you have gone through, because it doesn't compare.
So how do you balance that? Like, when you're constantly hearing other people's problems, the negativity, or just their struggle, and not take that home, being, an employee, a therapist, a coach, and then you have friends who I'm sure tap into you all the time, because I know I will all the time be like, I need you, right? But, and then a newlywed, congratulations.
Yes.
So with that, you then have to go home and be there for your wife on top of it. How do you balance work-life together?
It's a challenge.
It is.
It's a challenge because, you've got to learn to be very empathetic and sympathetic when you're home. Because, before becoming a psychiatric nurse practitioner, I was ICU nurse. So, I used to see patients on death's door.
Oh,
people on ventilators, people who are on drips, and we really didn't know if they were going to make it day to day. So, somebody comes, at home to me with, a scraped knee. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep on going. You be all right.
You're all right. You're all right. Oh, you got a little allergic reaction. Just go take some Benadryl. You'll be okay. But to really learn how to be compassionate for those loved ones it's been challenging. But I just thank God that He has given me the capacity to be able to hear all of those different stories and all of those different problems and be able to just shut it off as soon as work is over.
Does it ever come to a point where it's emotionally draining for you? And the reason why I ask, so I had chronic anxiety disorder because of past trauma. I was raped and molested from age 8 to 16 years old. And by the time I got 16, I had to literally flee for my life because some guys wanted to kidnap me. And then when I moved from one island to the next, I'm thinking that those things that was occurring there, it would not occur there, but those things literally just started following me. So I ended up catching a random flight. My first job was doing hair in a boutique back home, and the woman saw differences in me, and she was like, what is going on? She didn't know that those guys were literally taking me to crack houses and running a train on me, and then threatening my life because they were the biggest drug dealers back home, right? And I ended up, I didn't tell her what was going on. I just knew that I needed to leave. Enough was enough. And I didn't have the voice of family or anything. I was already out on my own. And I was like, enough is enough. I just said, I need a one-way ticket to Miami. I didn't know anyone in Miami. I knew of a grandfather that my dad had met at the age of 34. So I was like, well, I'm gonna just catch this flight to Miami. So by the time I got to Miami, I started passing out in school. I went to Miami Jackson Senior. I enrolled myself in school. I'm not gonna tell y'all how, but I enrolled myself in school. And right after that, like, I would not make it through the day in classes. Even walking 10 blocks to school, I lived off 46 and the school was on like 36th Street. I would pass out. I would hyperventilate. It started off with my face just stinging me. It started off with, and then my chest would just get heavy because I would start panicking. And what the movies show you when people see stars and it feels like it's like you're fainting, it felt like that. And I would struggle, and it would make me feel like I'm dying because that's what anxiety did. And so I got to the point and I said, enough was enough. But I still didn't know how to process or with who to process. I ended up getting diagnosed with chronic anxiety disorder. I wanted to get back. I never had suicidal ideations. I had homicidal thoughts. I wanted to get back to everyone that had ever hurt me or anyone who thought that they would come and try to hurt me. And as I got older, like, it started doing different things. And I never knew what anxiety was. I didn't even know there was mental illness out there. I never knew it. I just knew what I was going through, and I felt like I had no voice for no one for me to say nothing to anyone. They ended up giving me different type of medications. They sent me to a psychiatrist, and I'm a whole different horse. So when the psychiatrist sat with me, and I'm thinking, because what you see in movies, because you don't know, I'm thinking that the psychiatrist is supposed to just talk to me, right. And Asian guy, he just diagnosed me with all those things, and I literally was taking about 80 different pills a day. On top of the different things that was going on in my body, it threw off my entire hormone. I had a whole hormone imbalance. So although I was alive, I was still dead. Mm-hmm. I would sit and be just there like I'm dazing. So I guess the point and the question that I'm coming to for you as a psychiatrist, okay, and as someone who are in your field of expertise, do you ever get to a point where you yourself say, man, these people's problems are driving me crazy? I may need someone to talk to. Is there a source of strength that you use? Because of what I've been through, I studied psychology. I have 95 credit hours in that because I wanted to know how the mind works. And then I worked in psych for 4 years, but what I caught myself doing, I felt emotional because I'm very empathetic. So when I was dealing with the adults, then with the teenagers, and I was feeling a little too empathetic to them. And in the beginning, it's like I felt like I wanted to just save them.
Right.
You know, do you ever feel like you want to save your clients? And at what point do you balance between, okay, well, this person's situation is just too much for me to handle? Do you ever take a break? How do you breathe out of all of that?
So whenever you handle some of those complex cases, you have got to be honest with yourself. Again, is this problem too much for me?
Right.
Because if not, if it is, then you got to refer those patients to someone who can specialize or who have an expertise to really give that patient, again, that ultimate answer.
Yes.
To get to that place of healing. I more so deal with individuals, their medication management, like I'm sorry to hear again that they put you on 80 different medications. And it's the goal of medication is not to alter your personality. Mm-hmm. It's truly to help mitigate the severity of those symptoms.
Okay.
And it's to do so in order to again hopefully help get you to a place to where you're functional. Mm-hmm. And once you're functional, we always recommend that you speak to somebody because again, yes, we can give you a pill to help make the day better or to help to reduce the severity of your anxiety or whatnot. Mm-hmm. But actually talking to somebody about those traumas that you've experienced in the past is going to be critical to healing. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of things that we go through during our childhood are things that we don't know will affect us in our adulthood. Yeah. We put up different guardrails. It alters the way that we interact with different individuals. Like just because JoJo hurt us back in at the age of 5. Mm-hmm. Every man that is 5 foot tall, who is brown skin, they're gonna do what JoJo did to me. And we build up these different assumptions and that's how we navigate through life. And a lot of time that hinders us. Mm-hmm. It can hinder us in our on our jobs. It can hinder us in our different relationships. Mm-hmm. So just really going to therapy to really process how and what happened that resulted into this presentation or this person that you see before you today, and identify if this is healthy, and if it's not, we got to find a way to correct it so that we can really walk into the fullness of life.
I was going to ask you that because some people don't know how important therapy is. Mm-hmm. So what advice can you give to those who are afraid of therapy and how they could start and become comfortable with it?
Okay. That's good.
A lot of times people shy away from it, especially due to the fact that they don't feel like they have a safe place to disclose that information. If you're going through some really traumatic events behind closed doors, sometimes you don't want to tell your mom, you don't want to tell your cousins. Mm-hmm. You want to tell somebody who you feel is not going to judge you or shame you in a safe, confidential space. And you got to truly be honest with yourself. Like how wearing is this issue on you mentally? Like are you so enraged with somebody to the point where you're willing to give up everything to go into a rage and run somebody off the road or run them over? Or are you so distraught about this situation to the point where you don't want to get out of bed, you don't want to bathe, you don't want to comb your hair, you don't want to eat? Or are you so non-functional to where you don't want to go to work. Now, if the answer to those questions is yes, you gotta go. You gotta get help.
Enough is enough.
Enough is
to.
enough.
Yes.
Right. And it's about admitting that you have an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't think it's a problem with those issues, you'll never get help. But when you really see that this is really impeding your ability to really elevate and grow in life, that's when you got to make a move.
Yeah.
You know, Janelle, first, thank you for sharing your testimony. What I love the most about it is that you don't look like what you've been through.
Yeah.
No,
To
honey.
God be the glory. Right?
We popping our collars.
When we look at you, no one knows the backstory.
Yeah.
But to know and understand everything that you've been through and the fact that you went to therapy, you did the work to change, shows that when you put the work in, it works, right?
It does, yes.
I think the biggest thing, and there's such a stigma on therapy, and I think a big piece of it is we don't know what that looks like
Right.
when I walk in that door,
Right.
right? So when I go in, my thing is, and maybe you can share what that process looks like. Am I just sitting down telling you my problems? Because I got Janelle for that baby right. You know what I mean? Or do you give advice? And I think a lot of people don't know. They think, well, I'm just going in there to vent. Well, I got my friends to vent to. Meanwhile, you're probably friends for a reason, right? We connect
Yeah.
with like-minded people.
Like-minded people,
But
yes.
or do I sit and I tell you what's going on with me and you say, okay, here's the steps that you need to take? Because if it's talking myself through it, well, I do that all the time, right? I've been doing that for years. I talk to myself every day. But are you really going to give the steps to say where you want to go? Because I understand it's not your life, it's theirs. But what are the steps that we need to take to get there? Is that part of it? Or is it just a venting session?
It's a session where, again, it is a safe place to vent, but ultimately through that venting, we're going to be able to identify different areas of challenge that you're having, and a lot of times, you know, the issues that we have, we can't see in ourselves.
Yeah.
Which is why you need that accountability partner, or you need that mentor, or you need just someone to identify, because again, if we do everything, then why would we need anybody?
Right.
Yeah.
So you want to go to a specialist who can really help you identify those areas where there is a lack, and to help again come up with a solution. And a lot of times those solutions are maybe with medications, and many people may shy away from it.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, no, I do not want to be a guinea pig. Hey, I don't want to be dependent on this pill in order to be functional. But do you want to lay in the bed and not be able to do anything? Do you want to be incapacitated, or do you want to accept something that is going to help you to continue living, living and achieving, you know, all the goals that you've set for yourself, and to again just be functional. So yeah, those sessions are about, again, identifying those areas, and we do come up with a solution in order to help you to meet whatever objectives that you collectively come up with.
And do you do telesessions? Am I correct in that?
That's good.
Yes.
I had never heard about that.
Me either.
Yeah. So how different is that between like sitting down face to face and then doing it that way? And then do you think there's a difference that some people know they need the face to face, or is it just personal preference?
It's a personal preference.
Okay.
I've been doing telehealth for the past 6 years. Well, no, 5 years. But I recently opened up my own telehealth practice a year ago.
Okay.
And,
congratulations.
Come on.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's huge.
And I initially worked in an inpatient psychiatric hospital, and you would think that you need to be able to almost be able to touch the patient in order to bring about the positive result.
Yeah.
But the outcomes are the same. Either you know it or you don't. And the conversations are the same. So it's typically a personal preference. But with the telehealth, it provides access to those areas throughout the country who don't have access to providers.
Yeah.
Those rural areas. It helps individuals who don't have the transportation in order to get to these different appointments to be able to receive the treatment that they need.
Yeah.
To be functional. And it's made it way more accessible to
Absolutely.
to
What do you say to, you talked about accountability partners and support. How is it important for the support? What would you say to those family members who are dealing with someone that's having those mental problems and that are going through those things? What kind of support can they give without drowning themselves?
Yeah, I will say you got to be patient. You got to be patient, and you got to be understanding in it. Whenever they come back with a diagnosis, if they're willing to share that with you, I would suggest you look up different articles or different teaching videos to kind of educate yourself on what their diagnosis is, what the prognosis is, and even if you're wanting to accompany them to their appointments, and ask the provider, what can I do? They can equip you with different ways in order to navigate through that diagnosis.
One thing that I noticed from personal experience with mental illness in the past is that family and friends, because they don't understand what it is, they easily look at it as rebellion. You just don't want to listen to anyone. Janelle is just short-tempered, or just all the names in the book.
Right.
Because I've had so-called support taking me to doctors, but it really wasn't support. What type of awareness? I know you talked about reading the articles, but even when they don't understand it, and I notice, like, I can say right now, oh, I got depression. Somebody would be like, well, you need to get up, take your shower, and go put on your hair, go bed, or you just want attention.
Right.
That's what people do. Right. So it is so important, and I thank you for even being here today, because I'm a big advocate for mental health and abuse. So what type of awareness are you doing, or can family members who's watching, who really don't understand, who might have a family going through it, you might be going through to the doctors with the individual, but you still don't understand the emotions behind it or the response to their behavior. How can we get more of the word of it is okay to seek mental health?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you gotta, again, I think with people who are going through those issues, for them to be honest, because mental health is affecting people from all walks of life.
Yes.
Yep.
You see people who are politicians, people who are doctors,
Yes.
people who are teachers, people who are preachers.
Yes.
The homeless person, like everybody
Yes.
everybody,
On
nobody
some
is
kind of
exempt
level.
from it. Yeah. So with people being more vocal about it, will help to diminish that stigma. And I want to talk specifically about the church.
Okay.
That's what I was going to bring that up next.
Yeah.
In church, people think that, if this person is acting out, people are on drugs, that's a demon. And, and it very well could be.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we got to be real, and we can't negate that some people do have some chemical imbalances. And it doesn't take away from what God can do, because God can do all things.
Right.
Yeah.
And the same way that if someone comes to you and they say, "Hey, I got high blood pressure. My blood pressure's out of whack. It's near stroke level." What do you tell them to do? Tell them to go to the doctor. You tell them to go get put on medications, change their diet.
Right.
Somebody has diabetes. Oh my goodness, you need to stop eating all those
Yes.
those candies, all
Yeah.
those jelly beans. And you need to go to the doctor, get some insulin. With mental health,
It's different.
with mental health, I'm not right in the mind. Pray about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pray about it and go to that specialist
Yes.
and receive treatment.
Put it together.
Because again, people are suffering in silence.
Right.
People are suffering in silence, and we've just gotta kill the stigma and know that again. There's help out there for every area within the body, and the mind. Your mind is the most important, in my opinion, because it's directly connected to every major decision you're ever going to make.
So Marcus, how could somebody get in contact with you? Who might be watching and say they may not have access to coming to you, but they could get on the phone with you or make an appointment. Is there links that you could share with us?
Yes, you can reach me at www.mindrevivepsych.com, and you can call our phone line, which is 407-602-3380. We have an Instagram page. It's Mind Revive Psych. There's just a number of ways to communicate, and we accept most patients, most major insurances, and we see patients in the states of Florida, Arizona, New Mexico, but you can, again, all the information will be located on the website.
Okay. I'll end it by saying this. One of the words that I've heard you say a million times today is honesty. And so that's what I want to tell our viewers. Be honest with yourself, as Mr. Marcus said. Be honest. It's okay to say that you're having a problem, that you're going through. There is someone out there to help you. Enough is enough. When you get that in your system and you pray about it and put that together, everything will work out just fine. Thank you all for joining The Ugly Truth, and we love your views, and we thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.
Hello everyone, my name is Janelle M. Forbes. Thank you for watching The Ugly Truth Show on Dominion TV. Don't forget, download the app, dominion.tv.
Hi, my name is Gilma Dorville.
I'm Ebony Weaver.
I'm Ashley Moultrie.
I'm Delanique Robinson.
I'm Janelle M. Forbes, and you're watching The Ugly Truth Show on
Dominion TV.